Donald Trump has roasted the hypocritical Nancy Pelosi for going to get her hair done at a salon when the city is locked down and you're not allowed to do it. And Nancy Pelosi, who's also told people to wear their masks, wasn't wearing a mask because these people are hypocrites. They want power, rules for thee, but not for me. And Trump's calling her out. Well, let's read about good old Pelosi and what Trump has to say. Daily Mail says Donald Trump mocks crazy Nancy Pelosi over her visit to closed hair salon in defiance of COVID rules, saying turning her in on tape is a big deal, and claiming Republicans will flip the House and send Nancy packing. Maybe. People are fleeing San Francisco. Inventory is up like 98%. President Trump mocked House Speaker Nancy Pelosi for getting caught maskless at a beauty salon, flaunting San Francisco COVID-19 rules. The beauty parlor owner must really dislike crazy Nancy Pelosi. Turning her in on tape is a really big deal. Trump tweeted Wednesday morning. She probably treats him like she treats everyone else. And she strongly supported a Kennedy who just lost in, of all places, Massachusetts. That is crazy, by the way. Another tweet in another tweet on the topic, Trump boasted, "We will almost certainly take back the House." On Tuesday, Fox News reported that Pelosi had visited a San Francisco beauty salon the day before for a wash and blowout and was seen on the salon's security camera walking around without a mask. "Do as I say, not as I do," says Kayleigh McEnany. San Francisco beauty parlors weren't supposed to open until September 1st, the next day, and services were to be done outside only. The salon owner, Erica Cayos, called Pelosi's visit a slap in the face that she went in, that she feel that she can just go and get her stuff done while no one else can go in and I can't work. Cayos explained what happened. The owner rents out chairs to different stylists, and one of the stylists took on Pelosi as a client when the House Speaker's normal stylist was unavailable. The stylist reached out to Cayos Sunday night. "I was like, are you kidding me right now? Do I let this happen? What do I do?" Cayos told Fox News, adding that she can't control what her individual stylists do. So for those that aren't familiar, when you have a salon, you rent out chairs. So basically, if someone has a chair, they have keys, they can go in and they use the chair. It's like a co-op building. So apparently the salon owner was like, "I don't want Pelosi to do this. This is a slap in the face." But Pelosi, she went through one of the people renting the chair. Pelosi's deputy chief of staff, Drew Hamill, said in a statement that the speaker always wears a mask and complies with local COVID requirements. He added that the speaker followed the rules as they were presented to her by the stylist. This business offered for the speaker to come in on Monday and told her they were allowed by the city to have one customer at a time in the business. Hamill told Fox News. The speaker complies with the rules as presented to her by this establishment. Wonderful, Pelosi, but ignorance of the law is no excuse for breaking it, as they say. It's your responsibility to make sure you are following proper COVID guidelines. We have seen this over and over again. It is always in these democratic jurisdictions. Stop electing these people who just want power. They will slap in your face and they will piss on you and tell you it's raining. And this is true for many Republicans as well. But right now, it's not the Republican states that are locking down and arresting people for running their businesses. It's the Democrat-controlled areas. It is not the Republicans saying we need more lockdowns. In fact, the Republicans have resisted, and Donald Trump has said, no, we need to reopen our businesses. But it's the Democrats and it's the likes of Pelosi that call on us to follow their rules that they themselves will not follow. They say Cayos was still angry. "We have been shut down for so long, not just me, but most of the small businesses, and I just can't. It's a feeling of being deflated, helpless, and honestly beaten down. I have been fighting for 6 months for a business that took me 12 years to build, to reopen. I am a single mom. I have 2 small children and I have no income. The fact that they did this and she came in, it's like a slap in the face. Please go out. Share these videos, share this news with your friends and family politely. Don't get heated. Just say, I'm not going to vote for somebody who would flaunt COVID rules. I am not going to vote for people who cheer for protests where people go out with no masks. I am not going to support these people that would spit in our faces. I'm not saying the Republicans are the right answer, but I'll tell you what. Did you know that San Francisco, I believe, is one of the only cities in the country, if not the only, that has a public poop department? Yeah, it's funny. Ha ha ha, it's really funny. Everybody laughs. We got a fire department here in my town. We've got I believe the fire department here is actually for my city. I live in a small town. We got a local police department. Cities have these, public health services, EMS. San Francisco has a public poop department. A public feces department, I suppose. Their job is to be deployed when people call in human feces on the street. And they keep electing the same people over and over again. Why? Why do we have to live this way? San Francisco is the perfect example of the oligopoly that they want this country to become. The ivory tower elites of Silicon Valley living in these massive, expensive buildings, while the cities are festering with homeless people suffering, human waste in the streets. And you know what they do? Instead of solving their problems, they say, just form a poop department and have the taxpayer cover the costs. Could you imagine living in a place like this? There's a map that tracks the human waste in San Francisco. And you pull it up on Google Maps, and it's a brown splotch over San Francisco. You know why? There are so many tagged instances that the markers cover the entire city and make the whole map brown. You got to zoom in to like the block level, all the way down to the streets to see these things. That's Nancy Pelosi's district, where she gleefully walks in with no mask, flaunting the rules, but lets your city rot to the core. You know, the police officers can't even afford to live in San Francisco. It's a huge problem. I remember hearing a story about cops in San Francisco that were being pretty rough with some tech bro who got pulled over. And they were mad because these tech bros are pricing out the actual public services individuals, the employees. Firefighters and police officers don't get paid enough by the city to be able to live in the city itself. So they have long commutes. Many are leaving and giving up. They have to hire a group of people to go around with hoses to clean up human feces. Does your city have a poop department? What kind of a politician runs your city? Is it a Democrat? Well, most of the crimes per capita, the highest crimes per capita, are Democrat-run cities. I can't believe, we've let it get this bad. Yet people would keep electing the Democrats as their city rots. And you know what? To an extent, I blame the electorate. You know why? What happens now that the city's fallen apart? They run and flee. They're saying, oh no, I voted for all this. I better get out of here. I'm a non-voter for the most part. I don't vote for local Democrats, and maybe I should now make a change and start voting for something else. Perhaps the Republican is the right choice just because of the most likely to win, and there's something different. But I'll tell you this. In San Francisco, you're seeing a mass exodus. These people have voted, not all of them, they've voted for these Democrats. When the Democrats then come in and destroyed this city, what do? They run. They go to Arizona, and they bring with them these ideas. They will come in. They will vote for the same policies that will destroy everything around them, extracting what they can from the taxpayer and then leaving. There's a really interesting idea that I was seeing shared on Twitter about why it was necessary that only landowners could vote. I don't agree with that premise, but the idea was if anyone could vote, someone could walk in and say, I live here now, let me vote. Then they'd vote and then they'd leave. We can't have that because you end up with a class of people that come in, vote for policies that strip the taxpayer of their money, the funds go to the public. Then they say, vote for these things to empower me and give me free stuff. They get it. Then they leave after the city is left in shambles. Now, I certainly think we're well beyond a time where only landowners can vote. I don't think it works. And we do have restrictions that make sense. You have to live in a certain area for a certain amount of time. That I get, but you can leave at any time. And that still presents a problem. You could live somewhere for a couple years and enjoy the fruits of the labors of the taxpayer and keep voting for things that benefit you. And then once you've extracted everything, you just up and leave. Maybe we need something that says not only do you have to live somewhere for a certain amount of time, not be a landowner, but you also can't vote somewhere else if you move for a certain amount of time. You see what I'm saying? So let's say it's like, you leave, your jurisdiction remains that place you lived in. I don't know. Maybe that doesn't work. Doesn't make sense. But I'll tell you this. You look at someone like Nancy Pelosi and they kept putting her in power. They kept giving her the keys to the castle. And what has she done for this jurisdiction other than just make everything worse? And these people are federal level politicians. How many people from California are in our Congress? It's like 57 or something, 55, I don't know. How much power does California have over the rest of the country? And I believe that is unjust. But we live, it's a system we have. And the Electoral College works similarly. But think about it this way. They complain that states like Montana get too much power with the Senate. Well, I would throw it right back at you and say California as a state has too much power with Congress. They get too many representatives from their state alone. And that means that, where I live, I'm out in the suburbs in the Philly area. I got to adhere to what Nancy Pelosi wants. But she's a lunatic. Her city is in ruin. Don't let her policies ruin my neighborhood, my community. And that's the way the system works, though. So we got to vote them out. It's the best we can do. I hope people wake up. I'll leave it there. I got one more segment coming up in just a few minutes. Stick around, and I will see you all shortly.